Pisces, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week ahead. Now, keep in mind these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages waiting for you there that will offer you a more complete picture. Okay, my friends, let's get started for Pisces. What is the current energy around Pisces for the week ahead? Current energy around Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. That card feels like it wants to come out. The week ahead. Okay, Pisces, let's have a look. Okay, so we're seeing the Here and Now card on the bottom of the deck. So right away, I'm sort of feeling like you might be thinking about the past or the future. You might not be completely sort of focused on what's going on right now in the present. And that may be because you're transitioning into something new. And things may not be going as you expected, Pisces. But, you know, seeing this message with the rest of the cards that came out for you sort of makes me feel like even if things aren't going the way you expected, hang in there, hang in there. Just because they're not going the way you expected doesn't mean that it's time to sort of start over and, well, I guess this didn't work and sort of catastrophize. You know what I mean? Try to maintain that inner peace here because there's a lot of things happening around you to guide you right now. And it's interesting. It almost feels like you have to look at things as though they're in your favor right now. Even if you're like, what do you mean? Like nothing's happening the way I expected it. It's kind of like, well, but perhaps things are aligning right now. Like, when you think about wanting to make changes in your day to day, which is what I think we're looking at here when I see this card and this card, it takes time and it takes realignment. Like you're changing matter by changing energy. So that process sometimes can really need realignment because you may have been focused on achieving a certain outcome. And by shifting your energy towards that outcome, you've actually attracted something perhaps even greater than what you were expecting. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's sort of what's happening here when I see this Fates card too, that, just because things aren't going exactly according to plan, it's important to stay open to receiving support and to not feel like you have to do everything alone. And also this message of not, I kind of feel like you're moving between the past and the future right now in your thoughts because it's like you're worried about the future and you're thinking that the past is going to constantly repeat itself. And it's almost like you're thinking, well, I guess this is just how things go for me because that's how they've always gone. And it's like such a pivotal moment right now for you to hang in there and to maintain the energy that you're focused on because it feels like it's changing things. It feels like there's actual change happening here and you're being moved from one time of your life to another time in your life. But it's like there's this important grounding in the present that needs to be there that, if you focus on how dissatisfied you are with the present moment, then unfortunately what ends up happening is that you sort of tend to attract more of that disappointment because that's where your focus is. So Pisces, it's very important for you right now to sort of take stock of where your thoughts and emotions are because that's what amplifies your energy. And it also changes how you feel, right? The emotional intensity of the experience becomes altered when we start to feel or focus on, I should say, focusing on that we're disappointed with the present instead of saying to ourselves, somehow even if I can't understand how right now, somehow this is all working out for my outcome, the focus that I'm, the goal, the thing that I'm working towards. Somehow this experience is serving that purpose. You know what I mean? And that can be difficult sometimes, depending on the emotional intensity of what's happening in the present moment. And I understand that. It's just that if we look at the current situation as being something that's like it's going to be like this forever, and we start to catastrophize and say nothing's going to change for me, then it sort of alters how you perceive, right? Because your mind is always trying to prove you right. It's always looking for truth and evidence to what you're feeling and thinking. And so it's sort of this idea that you can't base the future on the current reality, because the current reality is malleable. It can change. And yeah, that's what I'll say on that. But that's really what's coming through for you here. And it's interesting because I feel like the outcome that you're working towards is fated. When I see this Fates card with the leg up, I feel like you just need to be open to support and help. And to not see that help or support means that somehow you're not moving forward. There's nothing wrong with receiving help or support. But I know that sometimes our wounded self has a hard time with that, right? And that's why I feel like this Fates card is coming through for you in the reverse, because it might be, and right next to this leg up card, which is all about receiving support. So you might be sort of feeling like if you need support, then that must mean the following. And I feel like you could be at a place where you're making conclusions based on things that are happening now, but perhaps those things are happening just to realign you to something else, and this idea that sometimes we experience challenges, and then there's this thinking that says, well, if I'm experiencing an obstacle or a challenge, perhaps that means this isn't for me. But you have to remember that the obstacles and challenges that you experience in the material world are actually a reflection of what's happening within you, and it's coming out in the material world to be noticeable by you, so you can see it and feel it, and then overcome it. It's not meant to break you. It's not meant to break you so that you give up and you do whatever you do in that case. It's interesting. It's sort of a moment here that you're having right now, Pisces, that feels like you've become very aware of certain situations that are out of your control and certain situations that are within your control. And there's something beautiful about moments that teach us what's within our control and what's not within our control, because it's interesting. That's the moment of serenity, when you release the things that are outside of your control and you focus on what is within your control. This is a time, really, the message here is hang in there. Hang in there, Pisces. Hang in there. Things are realigning for you right now. So it's important to stay focused more than ever right now, even though this might be the moment where you're about to say, forget it. Let's see what the tarot cards will reveal for you, Pisces, as you're going through this right now. The Three of Cups. Where's your support team? Strength card. Where's your courage? Right? This is time to connect with others and not to complain. I want to preface that. This isn't call up your friends and start complaining about how life sucks and how nothing ever works out for me. No, this could be a time where you reach out for support and just say, man, I'm having a hard time and I need some support to refocus my energy on what's positive about this. And let's talk about my goal again. Do you mind? Like, I just want to run through my my dream plan with you because that's going to motivate and inspire me. This is the kind of conversations you need to be having, right? Don't get together over drinks and start complaining, because that's actually going to vibrate you right into a pit of despair. And so it's interesting. It's almost like you need to have an inspired conversation, which is why you're seeing the Three of Cups strength and the Knight of Wands. This is a time to have an inspired conversation with people that are going to encourage you, support you, and keep motivating you to keep going. You know what I mean? This is not the time to rally up for a bitch session and to complain, because honestly, I think that would take you that could take you right down. That could take you right down. This is, if anything, this is a moment of transformation that needs sort of encouragement and confidence and a continuous sort of like, I got this. Nothing is going to stand in my way. These things that are happening are happening to realign me closer to my goal and purpose. And if it's not as I expected, that might mean that things are actually going to be greater than I expected. You know what I mean? Like that you're really on the right path here. And it just means that a significant amount of things have to change around you to realign you with what it is that you're trying to actualize. Do you know what I mean? And in those moments, those realignments can be really challenging in the material world, because it could mean something like, big changes. It could mean big changes. I don't want to sit here and guess, but it could mean some significant changes. And look at that. You've got the Four of Cups coming out now and the Two of Wands. So that tells me this is a moment to really pay attention to everything going on around you, because it is all happening to get you to see this new sort of way, this realignment. Focus there. Don't focus here, right? Like we've got the Three of Cups and the Four of Cups for you here. So to me, this says get together with people that are supportive of you. If, find your connected support network people here and start to talk about this idea, this thing that you're focused on actualizing. Don't sit and talk too much about how things are changing and it's creating obstacles and challenges, and I don't know what to do, and this isn't working, and then start spiraling yourself into this intense emotional experience that could actually sort of sabotage the momentum you're building. Okay, Pisces? And seeing that Two of Wands tells me that it's like, you're on this path right now. Like you're on this path. This trajectory is moving you forward, and it's like, yeah, I feel like things are in a stage of realignment for you, and things could be changing as you're planning. Things could be you're going in a different direction. Like you're planning this and now you're headed over here, and you're like, but my plan was over here. Go with it. Trust this. Trust the realignments, my friends. And don't get trapped in this fear, right? Don't get stuck in the past is going to repeat itself. I'm always going to be stuck like this. No, this is going to pass. This is a realignment process that will pass. It's just like, I'm trying to think of an analogy that I don't want you to take too literally, but it's just like an idea. This idea that, like, if you are going on a trip or something and you're driving down the highway and there's detours because of construction, that doesn't mean you turn around and go home. You could take the detour. Take the detour. Maybe taking the detour will save you from whatever is ahead on the road. Maybe there's a ton of construction. Maybe there was an accident. Maybe there's some problem with the road. So it doesn't mean that you have to turn around and go home and nothing ever works for me and detour, construction. No, you keep going. You just find you find a path that leads you there. And sometimes there are signs guiding you, right? That first card that came out, this one here, Message in a Bottle, and that Four of Cups, I can't help but think that there are things happening to guide you, to show you signposts that don't lose hope. This is just a redirection, that you're actually being activated. It's almost like when the universe hears you, it takes a second to have to realign things. It's like, oh, okay, they're stepping into the vibration of abundance right now, and they're moving out of scarcity. So that means the following things have to sort of get reprocessed or redirected. You know what I mean? And sometimes that can feel very scary. And I get it. It can feel insecure. It can feel scary. There can be a lot of fear. You can bring up a lot of shadows from the past and worries about the future. But actually, this is an opportunity for alignment. So don't lose faith here. Don't lose hope. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Pentacles. So you've got this lovely two energy that says you're moving through a gateway that's leading you into a new path. And now you're at the stage where things are getting reshuffled, realigned. You're getting redirected. And it's like it really feels like the first few stages of being in a place where the energy is actually starting to move you. And sometimes when that happens, it rocks the foundation. It rocks the foundation. And when that foundation gets rocky, we start to freak out and we get scared and insecure. But we don't have to. That's a choice. I feel like we're seeing here, like, tap into your support network, right? Not to complain, but to sort of re-energize yourself with your idea. This is like, to me, I'm envisioning picking up a phone, calling someone who knows you very well and who knows what it is that you're working towards, and talk about your idea. Talk about how excited you are about your idea. Talk about how motivated and inspired you are to do the work that you want to do, or to create whatever it is that you want to create. Like, fill in the blanks here. But, talk about it at a high vibe level. At a high vibe level, like, I'm so excited. I'm actualizing this project. I am, and put it in the present tense. Put it in the present tense as you're talking to your people. And you can even say things like, there's evidence all around me that things are changing. That's a wonderful way to reframe things when things don't go the way you expected. Is like, I'm so excited that everything around me is realigning towards my highest good, and to be excited about it. To feel motivated and like it's here now. Feel it like it's here now. And remember that what you're seeing in your current reality is the realignment process. It's the process of redirection. And in that process of redirection, be brave. Be brave and courageous, my friend. There's the Wheel of Fortune. It's coming out for you in the reverse, and I think that speaks to how you're feeling right now. But right after that, look at that. Six of Pentacles. I think you're feeling insecure in a material world insecurity way. Perhaps money, perhaps identity. It could feel like an identity crisis. It could feel like, oh my God, how am I going to make money? It could feel like if I pursue this, what does that mean for my stability and my security in the material world? It could be very practical when I see the Six of Pentacles, but that tells me you're coming into balance. I love the sixes. The sixes are a confirmation that the worst is over, that the period of change is about to end. You're about to step into it now that everything is realigning, and it may not be as you expected. I actually think it's going to be better than you expected. And there's the Page of Cups. This is very transformative. And it's very much a time where there are signs pointing you. There's signs all around you right now, Pisces. And this card always makes me think of Pisces because of the fish. But it's interesting, Pisces. I really feel like you are You are moving through a transformative process right now, and it could be at the part where everything is changing. But I feel like as things change, it's necessary. It's necessary. You might even find that you sort of feel separate from certain things that no longer resonate with this new path. And that's okay. That's okay. This is serving your highest good. Justice coming out in reverse again. That tells me that you're at a place right now where you're sort of dumping on yourself a little bit. You know, when I see Wheel of Fortune and Justice in reverse, that gives me insight into your thought pattern right now. And your thinking could be like, oh man, if this doesn't work, nothing ever works for me. Everything always ends up being like this for me. Challenge, obstacle, and then I have to resign myself to doing something that I don't want to do, that doesn't feel like it's for me. I get it. When things start to feel insecure in the material world, we panic, right? We start to freak out, and we start to think, I have to go back to something that I originally left because I knew it wasn't for me, but perhaps I have to go back to that because this isn't working. I don't know. I really think that it might be too early to call it. I think that you're just reacting to the shift. You're reacting in a sense to everything changing around you and realigning. But it's like, it really feels like it's moving you towards this new path of self-discovery. Let's have one more card of clarification here. It's the Star. Thank gosh we took one more card, because like you're creating this. This is something you're birthing, and it's healing you. And remember, the Star comes after the Tower. This card shows up after the Tower card. And so that makes me feel like, that really makes me feel like you're healing from all of this realignment stuff and all of the separation from things that no longer resonate with your new path. It's like you're dealing with so much. There's a part of you that has a fear of missing out. There's a part of you that's like, what if this doesn't work? There's a part of you that's like, oh man, am I going to have to go back to something that I don't want to do because what I'm moving towards isn't going to work for me? It's interesting. It's like you're having this identity crisis in the midst of a realignment. And the bottom of the deck, we see the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So self-care this week, Pisces. Self-care is going to be huge for you this week. Don't over-concern yourself with others right now. This is a time for you to really take care of yourself. Sometimes when we're out of sorts, we tend to project that onto other people, and then it can be sort of like a helicopter parent or a helicopter friend, where we start to match energy in a different way. If anything, right now, I feel like you need to focus on setting your energy and maintaining a stability in your energetic focus. And I think that's why we're seeing the Queen of Pentacles. Right behind her, I'm going to show you both cards. Right behind her is the Ace of Cups. So there is this new emotional beginning for you happening right now, and it feels like it's going to be a refreshing set of emotions that almost feels like freedom for you after having hit some serious realizations about stuff. And this movement that you're making, this courageous and brave movement that you're making towards a life of purpose and a life that is fulfilling to you. I feel like you're making strides. There's the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the hardest working knight in the deck. And he's always planting seeds for himself. And I feel like that's what you've been doing. And sometimes they're growing underground, and you can't see that they're growing because they're growing underground, but they're growing, and you're about to collect a harvest. I really feel like you're about to step into this path, and it's going to be very balanced and prosperous, and it's like you've passed through the worst of it, Pisces. Focus on your self-care this week and your focus. and the positive conversations that you're going to have with people to re-motivate yourself. You know, think about how your words echo through the universe, making a shift. And so create a ripple effect that serves you. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading, Pisces. I hope it's resonated and been helpful for you. If it has, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If you would like a personal reading, you can find that information in the description below. And as always, I look forward to reading for you again soon. And I'm sending you so much love and light, my friends. Take care.